Hello, 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 and welcome back to Am I the Patient? This is the podcast where we ask the uncomfortable, low-key, shady, but unnecessary question. Is it them or is it me? Is it me or is it them? I am your host, Miss J, and I am your favorite unofficial therapist friend who's here to help you unpack the mess while making you laugh through the cringe, because life be cringy. Today we're talking about why your coping mechanism has beef with your growth. And listen, this one might sting a little, but it's a good kind of sting, like a disinfectant. Or like when you put what is it called? Hand sanitizer. Thank you. On your hand, and you had a little paper cut that you didn't know about. Might sting a little bit, but overall, it's a good thing. So, let's get into it. Yeah. Raw conversations, real feelings, and no copay. This is Am I the Patient? Okay, so let's be real. Coping mechanisms are like that protective cousin who will fight everybody for you. They're built to keep you safe, especially during hard times. Maybe over your years of living, you've learned to shut down to avoid arguments. Maybe you became a perfectionist, so no one would criticize you. Or maybe you made yourself the funny one, so no one would notice how sad you are. Coping mechanisms are survival tools, but here's the thing. They're built for survival, not for thriving. And the second you try to grow, that's when they act like you betrayed the family. That's when they come out and it's like, oh, okay. So how do these coping mechanisms hold you back? So, this is why your coping mechanism and your growth don't get along. They speak different languages. So your coping mechanism says, hey, we're going to avoid this discomfort. And growth, on the flip side of that, is like, we're going to be uncomfortable, but in the long run, it's going to be worth it. They also have different goals. Coping wants you to stay the same because the same equals safe. Growth wants you to change because change equals better. And they fight dirty. You ever notice that when you try to push yourself, old habits pull up with a folding chair like it's a WWE match? Yeah, literally. That's the coping mechanisms trying to keep you, quote unquote, safe, right? So let me paint a picture. So you decide, hey, I'm gonna start speaking up for myself. I'm gonna be assertive. Great, go you. But the minute you try it, your coping mechanism kicks in. Like, whoa, 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 baby, whoa, whoa, whoa. What if they get mad? You know? What if I say something and it rubs someone the wrong way? You know what? No. Let's forget all that. Let's just smile and say it's fine. Because you know what? When you tap into that quote unquote safe coping mechanism, it's comfortable, it's easy. And you know what? I'm just gonna ride the wave. Yeah, I'm just floating the wave. I don't want to rock the boat. That's the quote. Or, for example, you start setting boundaries, and then suddenly you feel guilty. Like we've been talking about boundaries and how boundaries are important in relationships, and how you shouldn't feel guilty when you set those boundaries, because sometimes you might feel like you're pushing people away. And contrary to popular belief, boundaries are supposed to do the opposite. They're supposed to keep people close to you, but in a healthy way. So you start setting boundaries and you feel guilty, and you know what? That's not guilt. It's just a coping mechanism telling you, oh my goodness, we've never did this before. This feels dangerous. Let's not do this. I don't want to rock the boat. Or my personal favorite, for example, you decide to go to therapy, but your coping mechanism has you talking about everything except the real issue. Like it's like going to the doctor and telling them about a paper cut, while your leg is hanging off. And I know y'all have heard that quote before. So, I definitely, oh my gosh, it's so interesting when you are a licensed professional and you have a client who's in your office and you know the deeper issue, or I don't want to say because obviously I don't know them, they know them, but like you're starting to hear a bigger issue, I guess I should say, and the person continues just to be surface level. And it's like, oh, yeah, so I went to the ice cream shop and, man, I could not decide between vanilla or strawberry. Knowing dang well, last week we were just talking about your narcissistic baby daddy. Like, come on now. Come on. Like, it's just, I know it's hard to delve into these topics. It's hard for change. It's hard to step outside of your comfort zone. But these quote unquote coping mechanisms, want to keep you safe, want to keep you comfortable. So what are we going to do about it? What to do about it? So first of all, don't shame your coping mechanism. It's not the villain. It's like an overprotective bodyguard who doesn't realize you're not 13 anymore. It's just that overprotective, overbearing, entity or thing that doesn't know how to let go. Instead, thank it. I know, literally, just say, hey, thanks for helping me survive. Once you're aware of these coping mechanisms, obviously, just thank it. Just be like, thank you. And to that, you're going to update it. Learn new ways to handle discomfort that actually support where you want to go. So just give it a little, okay, thank you for this. Let's try this. And then practice on purpose. Growth can feel awkward, obviously, because it's new. Change is new. Change is hard. But keep showing your brain that new doesn't equal danger. You don't want to make those, synonymous. So yeah. Okay. There was one other thing I wanted to touch on too before I move into my am I the patient moment. Sometimes we have different coping mechanisms, and some of them are comfortable, and I don't want to say safe because we've been using the word safe, but they're not harmful. That's the word. Okay. They're not harmful. But then we do have some coping mechanisms that are harmful. So we have the not harmful ones, like adaptive coping mechanisms. And then we also have maladaptive coping mechanisms. So adaptive coping mechanisms are healthy, growth-friendly ones. These are things like journaling, exercise, practicing mindfulness, problem solving, being assertive, asking for help, setting boundaries, just basic strategies that actually deal with the problem or help you process whatever you're going through in a healthy way. Maladaptive coping mechanisms are the messy cousins. Like they might work in the short term, but they cause long-term harm and keep you stuck. Think of things like being avoidant, denial, substance abuse, people pleasing. I feel like that in itself needs a whole deep dive. What else? Oh, people who overwork. OMG. Overworking yourself. Retail therapy. The amount of times when I cringe every time someone says, oh, this is my retail therapy. I'm like, okay. I hear you. Retail therapy is good. You should reward yourself. You work hard for your money and you should spend that money on yourself, guilt-free. But at the other time, what are you talking about retail therapy when your credit card literally hates you? You're literally in credit card debt and you're literally charging everything and you can't afford it. That's not retail therapy because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm sad. No, that is maladaptive. So here's the twist. A coping mechanism can start out is adaptive and turn into a maladaptive one when you overuse it. So when I say that, I think of something like isolating yourself when you need to rest. Like, that's fine. Trust me, I don't like people. Sometimes I just don't need to be around people. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to look at my phone. I just want to be at home. I just want to play a video game. I just want to watch YouTube. I just want to be by myself. That's fine. Now, if you isolate yourself every time something happens or every time life gets stressful, then you're cutting yourself off from support and growth. And then that is when that adaptive coping mechanism turns into a maladaptive coping mechanism. Are y'all following? Okay, I hope so. So part of the growth is asking, is this helping me move forward, or is it just keeping me comfortable? And I feel like people should write that down. I'm going to say it again just so you can mentally hear that and write it down. Part of growth is asking yourself, is this helping me move forward, or is it just keeping me comfortable? I'll let you chew on that one for a second. Okay. Now, I just had to throw in my am I the patient moment, because I am the patient. I don't need to ask myself that. I am. That's why I'm here. But I've been working in therapy about a particular habit. It's just something that I'm not 100% comfortable being vulnerable with about. Only really a few people. I think my family knows. I mean, they don't know to the extent of it. And my therapist knows. That's literally it. And so, and as I say this, vulnerability is another piece that my therapist and I are working on. But anyway, it's not something I'm totally comfortable sharing with you guys just yet. Maybe one day. I hope one day. But anyway, I digress. This habit that I have, and every single time I fall back into the habit, my brain just wants to reset. It wants to go back to those thoughts of like, you're never going to get over this, or you're just going to be stuck in the same thing. And I literally have to force my brain to be like, no, in order for you to change, in order for you to grow, oh my gosh, I'm like tearing up thinking about it. In order for you to get out of this, to be where you want to be on the other side of this, you have to keep trying. You can't stop trying. You can't go back to those thoughts of like, you're not going to change. You're just going to be stuck with this forever. And that's not true. I've had that way of thinking. I've been dealing with this for about probably more than a decade, to be honest. I know, a long time. And so this habit has been ingrained in my brain, and so I'm working through, and I'm noticing progress, of course, of that change, and I will be on the other side of it. I know I will one day, and that sentence that I literally just said it speaks to my growth. So baby steps, slowly but surely, we're going to get through it. But I know, I get it. I understand how hard it is to just fall back into what you know, what you're comfortable with, especially if you've been, you've trained your brain and you've trained your body to be that way. You've always been that person to just, listen to what everyone else says. I'm not going to speak my mind, and I'm not going to say, I'm not going to speak up for myself. I'm just going to people please, or I'm just going to, not rock the boat. You're doing yourself a disservice, and that's not what we want to do. So I know I am the patient, and I will get over this, and you will get over whatever you're struggling with, and we will be better on the other side of this, because that's what growth is, and that's why we need to change. It's just, yeah. Anyway, I always feel like I'm rambling. It's hard when you don't really have anybody else to volley off of, but it's okay. I have you guys. And I'm getting a couple of whatchamacallits, stories on the Google form, which I'm excited about. I just don't know how to incorporate them just yet. So please, if you are out there and if you have a story or you have something that you just need to get off your chest, or if you need to just say, hey, me too, please reach out. Anyway, let me wrap around the circle and I'll talk more about the reaching out piece. But your coping mechanisms kept you alive. But if you really want to live, you've got to stop letting them call the shots. We got to stop letting them call all the shots. I know, easier said than done, but it is possible. So, if this episode had you side-eyeing your own habits, good. That's the first step. And like I said, I want to hear from you guys. What's one coping mechanism you've caught yourself in lately? And how has that been holding you back? Please, I want to know. Comment on this video. Email me at amithepatientpod@gmail.com. Check my Linktree. You can leave it in the Google form. Just let me know so we can unpack it together. I love that. Remember, growth feels uncomfortable because it's stretching you. And that's exactly how it's working. So, until next time, I'm Miss J, and ask yourself the question, am I the patient? But I'm going to start adding this. You also have to be ready for the answer. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.